All right. Next, we're going to do another. This is another refresher. Okay, it's the quadratic equation. So given y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and I should say equals 0. Okay, then x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now, I am not a huge fan of memorizing things at the college algebra level, at least, okay? I do think that memorization has its uses, but in college algebra, I'm not a huge fan of it, okay? But this is one of those things that I think is useful to remember. But now, just say you don't want to remember it, but let's just say we wanted to figure out where did that thing come from, okay? Because that's also valuable, okay? So let's derive this quadratic equation. Again, this is one of those videos you don't really have to watch. I just include it because I would have taught this material in the class, okay? So ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that c over to the other side. Ax squared plus bx equals negative c. All right? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is on the left-hand side, I'm going to factor out an a. All right? Now, here's where we have to do our completing the square. You remember completing the square? Let me just write it out, or at least perfect squares. Complete squares are of the form x plus or minus, let's say h, squared is going to be x squared plus or minus 2xh plus h squared. And that doesn't matter what h is, okay? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square on this, okay? So we would like this b over a to be 2 times our h, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add inside the parentheses b over b squared over 4a squared, okay? So a x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared equals. Now on the right-hand side, we have to add something as well. But this b squared over 4a squared is multiplied by an a. So we're going to add negative c, and we're going to add b squared over 4a. All right, so this was the completing the square. Okay, remember, you take half of this number and square it, right? And that's how we got this number to add to both sides, okay? But of course, because of this a, we lost the power here, all right? Now, let's go ahead and write this as its perfect square. So this is a times x plus b over 2a squared equals negative c plus b squared over 4a. Now on the right-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this and combine it. So what is our common denominator? 4a. So I have to multiply c by 4a over 4a. No problem. A, x plus b over 2a squared equals, I'm just going to write it as b squared over 4a minus 4ac over 2a. Oh, look, that's starting to take a form, isn't it? Okay. That a here is ugly, though, so let's rewrite that. Okay. So now, x plus b over 2a squared equals b squared minus 4ac. I don't know why I didn't put a 4a there. Over 4a squared. Okay. Running out of space, but that is easily fixed in this world of doing things as easily fixed. All right, just makes me so happy to be able to do that. So now, x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what's that? That's the square root of the top, and the square root of 4a squared is just 2a. So x is negative b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, or rather, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. All right, so that's a derivation of the quadratic equation. Okay? All right, next up, we're going to do some applications.